This isn't how you would expect New York City's biggest landlord to supply heat to its tenants. But this is what it's come to at several public housing buildings in Coney Island, Brooklyn. Big box trailers now set up as temporary boiler units. Were you surprised when they put this in here? I mean,
Yes.
this is your heat.
Yes, I was, because I was expecting that we would have the regular boiler systems back. And we don't.
And tenants like Margo Brackette
The heat is irregular.
wonder whether these temporary boilers will hold up for the third consecutive winter. The units were installed shortly after Hurricane Sandy tore through Coney Island and the rest of the city in October 2012. So while seniors at the O'Dwyer houses sing and dance to the oldies, they're also quietly wondering if they'll be warm this winter. In fact, a permanent heating solution at this and neighboring housing developments is just one of the many problems we've documented on PIX11 News in New York City public housing over the last year and a half.
When I first moved in housing in the 60s, it was wonderful. I come from the Lower East Side of Manhattan. It was a step up from the old cold water flats.
Margo, a New York City public housing tenant for the last 44 of her 66 years, has just about seen it all. You're still saying that despite the progress that seems to have been made over the last couple of years, you're saying what?
I'm saying that this Band-Aid is pulled back and the sewer is still up underneath. This is every week, that either the water is off or we just have cold water or we have brown water.
So what are you saying? We just caught you on a good day?
You just caught us in a matter of good hours.
We have whittled that down significantly.
It's now Shola Olatoye's job as the newly appointed NYCHA chairwoman to fix this mess.
The short-term financial issues are real, but it's really about the long-term financial health of the organization. You know, the challenges are huge, as you've documented well here on this program. And so that's why I think it's so critical that there's a real conversation about the future of the Housing Authority.
This is Olatoye's first broadcast television interview since Mayor Bill de Blasio appointed her to the job in February.
Ni hao.
Like her predecessor, former NYCHA chairman John Rhea, Olatoye has experience in the banking industry. Let's talk numbers.
Okay.
What's your budget deficit right now?
Our budget deficit for 2014 is about $77 million.
But unlike John Rhea, this 39-year-old wife and mother of two also has a wealth of experience in the world of affordable housing. She now faces several monumental challenges, including the ongoing recovery from damage inflicted by Hurricane Sandy, even after insurance reimbursement payments.
This is a $1.8 billion expense to the New York City Housing Authority, which clearly we did not have the resources to address.
Olatoye says she's also streamlining operations and asking, more aggressively, for additional funding from outside sources. The average age of your housing stock is 50+ years. I'm listening to you as you talk about funneling money here, addressing needs there. This does not sound like a sustainable business model for the next generation. This is challenging.
And that's why the model has to change. The things that we have come to do for the past 80 years, you know what? We can't afford to do some of those things anymore.
It's all part of a new initiative called Next Generation NYCHA, which also includes the effort to continue whittling down a backlog of 85,000 open maintenance repairs. If you recall, that backlog stood at an astonishing 400,000+ repairs when Mayor Bloomberg announced the push to erase it in the final year of his term. Aside from painting and spackling, there are other worries, specifically security and surveillance cameras.
These are two little kids. Just think about it.
Things came to a head after two children were randomly and savagely stabbed in a Brooklyn elevator earlier this year. 6-year-old PJ Avito died of his injuries. NYCHA officials say crews have already installed 28 of the 49 surveillance camera systems slated for various housing developments. Adding crews are on schedule to complete the installations by the end of the year. Olatoye says the administration also found new funding to install almost 200 light towers in the city's most violent housing developments.
Respectfully, I will say this is not the first time that I've heard grandiose plans, really concrete plans from NYCHA officials. What makes your plan different, and how can you convince NYCHA tenants that this just isn't all talk?
The only way that people are going to believe that there's something different is if they feel it and if they see it.
Margo Brackette, who's seen NYCHA administrators come and go over her 4 decades in public housing, remains patient for now.
Let me play devil's advocate here. You know, if someone was watching at home and they say, well, you know what, NYCHA doesn't get the money that they used to from the federal government. Times are hard. It's not just New York City public housing, we're all suffering. And she should be grateful for having a roof over her head, and they're doing the best that they can. To all of that, you say what?
To all of that, I say, I pay my rent like anyone else who lives outside of NYCHA, and they expect admirable service. We get rent raises just like everybody else.
People have said the same thing to me. I've been here for 50 years, and I've seen lots of things happen, come and go. What are you going to do differently? I give people my honest assessment, and I say, you know, let's let the numbers stand for themselves. So let's check in 3 months, let's check in 6 months, and
I would appreciate that.
I would appreciate that as well.